Hello friends, and welcome to Escaping the Mouse with your host, me, Breck Rowell. Alright, today we're going to go back to the Mayborn Museum. Apparently there is a historic 1890s era village that's been built up on the site of the Mayborn Museum that was actually donated by a man named Bill Daniel, who was active in Texas politics a long time ago. He was actually, at one point, he was the governor of Guam, but he bought some property in Texas at one point in about the 1940s. And a lot of these buildings existed on that property when he bought them. He donated those buildings to the Mayborn Museum, actually before the Mayborn Museum was built, and that was about 25 years ago, and they've been sitting on the property ever since. And about 15 years ago, the Mayborn Museum made it kind of more of a prominent part of the exhibit at the museum, and made it so you could, it was a little easier to go see and all that. Now, I've actually seen this property a few times as I've been walking along the river, but I've never actually gone in and looked at it. So today we're going to do that. Alright, I'm on the grounds of the Mayborn Museum. I've kind of snuck behind the back of the building here just to kind of look at where we're going to be once we get inside the complex. But yeah, this is it. Like I said, I've looked at this kind of as I've walked along the river, which is just over there, and I've seen this before, and I've always kind of wanted to come and check this out, but never had the chance until today. So let's go in and see what we can see. Now, as I was walking around here, I decided to go check out this place. This is where I was a couple months ago when they had the dinosaur exhibit here. That's where all this was, and I honestly looked in here and saw the cardboard on the floor, and I figured, oh, they're just packing stuff up, but apparently I'm wrong. Apparently this is Cardboard City. So we'll kind of take a quick look around here, see what there is to see. Yeah, this is cardboard, definitely. Looks like they're doing some arts and crafts and stuff over there. Not entirely sure what the point of this is, but the kids seem to be having fun with it, so hey, whatever, right? Not exactly my cup of tea, but that's okay. Now, this is a part of the museum I hadn't seen last year, or last time I was here. Looks like they got a bunch of stuff from Baylor University, some uniforms, some class rings, student handbook from 1912, 1913. Looks like some old vintage yearbooks. Turkey bell, 1927 and 1980, used in Baylor ring out ceremony. Passed on the Baylor spirit from graduating class to the junior class. There you go. $1911 boxing gloves, owned by T.P. Robinson, Baylor University, 1911. Best of the old-time greats of Texas football before the Southwest Conference was organized. And a special commemorative bottle of Dr. Pepper, I guess to commemorate the Floyd Casey Stadium, home of the Baylor Bears. And some vintage mascots here. I think we saw this when Jordan and I went to the Sports Hall of Fame, which is just the next building over. Looks like they were kind of moving some of this stuff over here. Check out that old harp. The reason these artifacts are exhibited here is simply that they have survived to the present, being consistently important by family members and passed down through generations. Many of the objects were eventually given to the museum by passionate Baylor historians like Mary Maxwell Armstrong. Look at that old rocking chair. I don't think that'd be very comfortable to sit on there with a rope on the seat. Oh, check out the old piano here. Gotta admit, that's a kind of a unique social distancing sign. Comparing 6 feet social distancing to largest pliosaurids. So stay one skull apart, huh? And here's our way into the village, the Governor Bill and Vara Daniel Historic Village. Let's go in, or out, as the case may be. Yep, this is it. Let's go kind of wander around here and see what we can see. Watch our bluebonnet patch grow. Not exactly the season for that right now, but I'm guessing this will be very bluebonnety in about 6 months. So this is an old lawyer's office dedicated to Bill Daniel, the person who donated all these buildings to the Mayborn Museum.
Welcome to the Governor Bill and Vara Daniel Historic Village. The village was donated to Baylor University in 1985 by the Daniel family. The structures were relocated from Liberty, Texas to Baylor's campus in 1986, where they now reside along the banks of the Brazos River as part of the Mayborn Museum complex. The village provides guests with a glimpse into the past, bringing to life a community in the 1890s. During your exploration of the village, discover the relationship between tenant farmers and the landowners they rented from. Spend time in an 1890s one-room schoolhouse and read from a McGuffey eclectic reader. Visit the commissary to experience what shopping was like on the frontier. Enjoy a moment of silent reflection in the community church. These and many more adventures await you in the Governor Bill and Vara Daniel Historic Village. Begin your journey into the 1890s by looking into the windows of this law office.
Check out the old potbelly stove there in the middle, and the desk, and that vintage typewriter. And that chair, check out that chair.
Governor Bill Daniel received his law degree from Baylor University in 1938. Following graduation, Daniel returned to Liberty with his law degree and set up a general law practice. He maintained his small-town law practice for more than 60 years. He received numerous tributes and awards from the State Bar of Texas and was named Baylor Lawyer of the Year in 1985. In 1991, the State Bar honored his efforts to preserve Texas legal history by naming its historical repository in Austin as the Governor Bill and Vara Daniel Center for Legal History.
One of the things I noticed while I was recording that last segment is that there's pecans coming out of the tree and landing on the roof of this place. That's just like my house at home. I'm constantly having pecans landing on the roof. You know, it isn't quite as noisy in my house because I don't have a tin roof like this, but how's that for authenticity, right? One of the things they advertise here is that you can have big gatherings here, and They've definitely got a lot of seating location here for picnics and that kind of stuff. So I guess you can even have little sporting events here. They got some bleachers here. So I'm gonna go see what this is. I don't think this is part of the original building. This is something else, but I don't know, maybe it is. We'll see what it is and make up our mind then. Okay, I guess I'm wrong. I don't know if the building is one of the original buildings, because I don't think in the 1890s they had electrical outlets on the walls. But check out these old buggies. They're calling this one a doctor's buggy. And the one in the background, there's an ambulance. Let me get to another angle here so we can see that better. Fortunately, I can stick my hand through the bars here, so you don't have to look at the bars. So basically, different parts of health life here. Doctor's buggy, the ambulance, and the hearse. Check out the woodwork on that thing, though. I'm going to zoom in here so you can really check that out, because it's some very beautiful and very elaborate work on that. They're calling this the Monarch Way Station. Looks like a lot of flowers that are very, very interested to bees and butterflies. I don't see any monarchs, but I don't think this is monarch season either. But I see some moths hovering around and some bees, and I guess they're reclaiming water that comes off the roof and storing it in this bucket. Doesn't look very 1890s to me, but I think that's probably why they surrounded it with the wood, so that it had a more traditional look to it. I've thought about doing something like that on my house too, reclaiming rainwater. It rains so much here that, you know, if I could get some large enough buckets to kind of claim the water and hold on to it, you know, that'd be a good way to be a little bit more green with the water use in the yard. Oh, there's a monarch butterfly. Can't seem to make up his mind which way to go, though. When I was kind of looking up the village here, I saw an advertisement for this. Definitely going to have to come back and check this out in December. I guess they decorate everything with the Christmas lights, and looks like it'd be kind of a sight to behold, so stay tuned for that one. And here they got the commissary. Now, I've noticed that some of the audio is repeated over and over again. And if you actually look at the audio that's on the sign for this one, it's actually the same audio they broadcast for the house. So obviously they didn't make audio for this one. So let's just kind of go in and look around. I think it's really cool that that these places are open, that you can actually go looking inside of all of them. Of course, the common theme on all of these is the potbelly wood-burning stove. It smells old in here. Holy cow. Reminds me of my grandmother's basement. All the products that you can buy. Tomatoes, pumpkin. Produce, obviously probably grown locally, although I think this is plastic. You have to use your imagination on that one. Teas, candy, dishes. Look at all those old jugs. How cool is that? Sewing supplies. Marbles for the kids. Smoking and shaving supplies. And glasses. Look at those old vintage clothespins. And that typewriter. I think the only thing that isn't authentic about this is the air conditioning unit on the wall. I don't think they had that in the 1890s. Feels good though. Smoking supplies, pipe tobacco, and cigars. Stuff that you can order from, is this Sears and Roebuck? Yeah, oh man, check out this old vintage Sears Roebuck catalog. Holy cow. Clocks. Silverware. Jewelry. Watches. Clothing, shoes. Wow. How cool is that? The Amazon of its day. Check out those old vintage oil lamps. How cool are they? Beautiful, aren't they? Oh, check it out, there's a coffin up in the rafters. Everything you'd need. Different kinds of seeds that you can buy. Seed corn, sunflower seeds, oats, red kidney beans, black-eyed peas, pinto beans, lima beans, rice, navy beans. Everything you'd need. Guess I can't get those open. I guess they're locked. Wonder if those are like screws and stuff like that. This place is amazing.
Teaching in a rural community school has been an eye-opening experience. I moved here just before the start of the school year, and I thought this would be an adventure. I didn't realize how much of a challenge it would be. This is my first teaching position, and I'm living with the family of a school trustee. On the first day of class, I was surprised to learn that a few of my students are older than I am. Some of my students travel many miles to get here, often along trails their fathers cut through the woods and the brush. On cold days when I get to school, I set the fire in the small wood stove inside the schoolhouse. Then I go outside and fill the water buckets so that the children and I will have something to drink. Before the students arrive, I organize my lessons for the day, and then I go outside to the outhouse and make sure no creatures have decided to use it as a shelter. I hate that part of my job. Still, I love helping students to learn their reading and math skills, and I'm so proud of them when they have learned enough to move up to the next grade level. However, I'm not sure if I will come back to this town after the summer. I've been thinking about taking a job in one of the larger city schools.
After we get our morning chores done, my brother, sisters, and I grab our lunch pails and walk to school. We live a ways from school, and the road is rocky and dusty. By the time we get there, the little kids are already tired. Our schoolmistress is nice, but there are days when I would just rather be outside in the sunshine than in the schoolhouse. There are about 20 children who go to school here, and all are different grades from this one room, from first grade up to 8th. We have lessons in the morning, and then at noon, we take out our lunch pails and eat outside. Mama usually packs us leftover biscuits and bacon. After lunch, we have a few minutes of recess, where we play games like Ring Around the Rosie. Once recess is over, we have more lessons before the teacher dismisses us for the day. Then we head home to do more chores before it gets dark.
I've worked for the planter as a farmhand for many years, but I also work as the blacksmith for the farm when something needs to be repaired. I started to apprentice with my uncle before we moved out west, so I know enough to do what needs to get done. Blacksmiths are few and far between in these parts, and the planter needs me to just keep up with the repairs for wagon wheels and farm equipment and to help shoe the horses. I know a blacksmith a few towns over that set up his own shop. He repairs equipment for farmers and builds coffins and will even pull your teeth if you need him to. I open these big doors for a cool breeze when I have the forge going. It can get hot trying to heat up metal enough to work even in the winter.
Look at some of the old tools on the walls here. And I'm guessing that's the forge, because that's the only thing I see that looks anything like a forge, unless it's back there. See, that looks like that's a stable. That looks like that's another stable.
My family and I moved to this farm a little over a year ago, just after the harvest. The folks who lived here before us did not have a successful crop, could not pay their rent, and had to leave. While I feel bad for that family's misfortune, I am thankful my family had the opportunity to move here. My wife and I have 3 children, and they help us manage the farm. My daughter helps with the chores around the house and in the garden. My sons help me tend the cotton crop. The soil here in Central Texas is ideal for growing cotton, but the weather is sometimes harsh, and droughts can destroy a year's hard work. As tenant farmers, we rent a small plot of land from the landowner and his family. We have an arrangement worked out so that we pay him for our rent with half of the crop we grow. Whatever is left, we take to the cotton gin where it is sold and shipped up the river to the big city. My son and I also do odd jobs for the landowner. Last month we patched a hole in his roof, and just the other week we chopped and hauled wood for the cook's house. We like this area because there's a good school nearby where the children can get educated. I pray that this year is better for us than last year was for the other family who lived here.
Kind of hard to see everything in there, what with the glare from the window, but kind of a kitchen table under thing here in the front. Old vintage, I'm guessing it looks like it's some sort of an organ in the background there. Maybe it is just a piano. It just looks like there's kind of buttons or something on the above the keyboard, so I don't know. Yeah, I guess that is an organ. I can see now it says Crown Organ on it. One of the things that really kind of surprises me about this building is that it's actually divided in half. The living area is over here and the sleeping area is over here, and you actually end up having to go outside to go from one to the other. That's just kind of an interesting way of doing it. You see there's one bedroom in there. And another bedroom in here. This is obviously the kids' room because I see toys on the floor. Like I said, you have to apologize a little bit for the glare through the windows there, but that's the reality of this. Another view of the kids' room here. Now this is what they call a tenant's house. Looks to me like some of the audio recordings that they have where they kind of just repeat the same audio on several occasions. You may have noticed that the audio they had playing for that last house we visited was the same one they had for the little country store. So, and I noticed it's the same one here. Got a little spider hanging out in here. Another wood burning stove here. Pretty modest, huh? Looks like they can sleep 3 in here, including the baby. Another potbelly stove in there. Some animal hides on the wall there. And I guess an old version of a bunk bed, for lack of a better term, huh?
I came to work for the family about 10 years ago. The lady of the house had just had her first child, and my husband had just passed on. When I first came to work for the family, I lived with them in a small home here on the farm and helped to take care of the little ones. After a few years, the family built their house and this outdoor kitchen, so I moved out here to be in charge of daily cooking. I also tend the kitchen garden out back. I grow vegetables and herbs such as rosemary and thyme. I use the herbs for cooking and for medicine. During the summer, I can fruits and vegetables for use in the winter. The family really enjoys my homemade sausage, so I make it in large batches. In order to preserve the sausage, I cover it in lard and store it inside large crocks. Every Sunday, I make a hearty meal for the family when they return from church.
And I guess this is the garden that she was referring to. Although they actually got a real garden over here. I guess they do a little weekly exhibits on gardening in the area that you can come and visit on Wednesdays. What do they got growing here? See if I can figure out what it is. Spinach, cucumber, peas, and radishes.
Our kitchen isn't attached to our house. I asked my father why one day, and he said it was because our house was made of wood, and if there was a fire in the kitchen, our whole house could burn down. So when he had our house built, he had them put the kitchen out back. When I'm not working on schoolwork or spending time learning about business with Father, I like to hang out in the kitchen. Cook calls me a pest, but I know she's just teasing because she always smiles and gives me a taste of what she is fixing. I especially like when she makes cookies. The sausage she makes is really good too.
When the settlers moved to this area, this church was one of the first structures built. All denominations of people attend services here, Baptist, Methodist, you name it. Each group took turns using the building. I'm the only Baptist preacher in the area, so I also minister at 3 other churches within riding distance. Most of the members of this congregation cannot read, although some of the children do attend school and are learning this skill. Because of this, we do not make heavy use of the written word or hymnals, although we do have a few copies for those who have the ability to use them. When we sing, I often line the hymns, reading out one line at a time that the congregants then sing back in response. After a while, the songs become so familiar that they can be sung properly. During the summer, we have revivals here where members of the churches from miles around come to town for a week of worship and renewal. We always have our revival in the summer before the local farm families become busy with the harvest.
Every Sunday, my papa hitches the mule to the wagon, and our whole family comes to town for church. I enjoy seeing my friends from school, but in the summer, church can be long and hot. If we're lucky, a nice cool breeze will come in through the windows while the preacher gives his sermon. Some days that man can talk for hours. It is so hard to sit still and keep quiet. The little children have a really hard time. My favorite part of church is singing the hymns. Most of the songs we have memorized. We only have a couple of hymn books here. I try to make my mama proud of me by reading her some of the lines out of the books. I know she's proud of me because I have learned to read. She wishes she had learned to read when she was young. When the sermon is finally over, we get to go outside and have lunch with our friends. During this time, the adults all get to catch up and socialize about news from town.
So I think I'm going to go back inside the museum, see if there's anything there that I haven't seen yet. They seem to sometimes circulate different things in and out of there, so we're going to wander through there. But I don't know, I had a great time here. There's a lot of really cool stuff here. Like I said, I've kind of walked by and seen this from outside before and wanted to come in and look around, but this was actually really a lot of fun. If you ever get a chance to come by it, it's in back of the Mayborn Museum, and you get access to this with just the general access to the museum. So check it out if you get a chance, and let's go inside the museum and see what's in there. And in case you wondered what Bill Daniel looked like, there he is. And he and his wife on their wedding day, 1939. I can see our T-Rex friend is still here. It's called an alligator gar. I guess you can guess why they call it that, right? Kind of looks like it's got the head of an alligator. And that's called an eastern snapping turtle. I don't think he'd make a very good friend for Flash, so. Alright, well that was a lot of fun. I was actually glad to get a chance to see that historic village. And I kind of wandered around the museum before, and wasn't really a whole lot different this time, so didn't really show a whole lot in there. But like I said, that's a good place for kids, and if you're interested, I shot a video in there about 2 years ago. You can go look for it. It'd be labeled as the Mayborn Museum, and that would have been like 2 summers ago. So check that out if you're interested. And until then, I think that's all I have for today. Thank you as always for watching, and I will see you next time on Escaping the Mouse. Good night.